program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting live from KTNF AM, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and also airing on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago, where facts matter. Welcome to The Gailey Show, the only daily LGBT program on the radio in the U.S. We ask you to subscribe to our YouTube channel because all the subscribers we get there help us get more tools to grow that channel. I am not John Parker. I am your guest host, the usual co-host, Jim Pounds. We have a lot of interesting people in the studio today. My co-host is someone you know from another AM 950 program, Philip Anthony from the Upright Downright show. We also have Adam as our producer in the control room. So this is showing you how much bench strength this station has, right? So welcome. And I want to do one quick headline. I think they already said this in the AP News, but the mephistoprone access has been restored by SCOTUS by staying an appeals court decision that said it was not available, but it will now be available through telehealth, through mail, and through pharmacy. So that is a moment of sanity in an insane world. During the second half of the show, we're going to talk to James Grace, who is in a chorus line opening at this month at Park Square Theater, their 50th anniversary. It's a big deal. But first, let me introduce my co-host, Philip Anthony. Hello, Philip. Welcome again to The Gailey Show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
It's nice to see you. We had lunch together today, so we just got our talking mechanisms going, and now we have to channel it into a radio program.
Yes.
Can you tell us, the folks, especially the folks in Chicago who might not know about Downright Upright Show, all about what they might expect?
Yeah, so I always say on my show, first of all, AM 950 rocks. Just want you to know. My show is a progressive / LGBTQ plus focused show. So I always say on my show, those two communities walk hand in hand. You can't have one without the, remember that show, that song? You can't have one without the other. Yeah. So you have to have the progressiveness, you have to have the LGBT, and they have to walk hand in hand. So it's basically, we have politicians that have our interests at heart. You know, we talk about some entertainment news. We talk about LGBT movers and shakers in the Twin Cities area and around the world. We've had worldwide authors. It's just, it's a conglomeration of different things.
A grab bag.
A grab bag. Yeah. Yes.
Would you
Absolutely.
say, I think one impression I have of your show is that it's pretty optimistic. I mean, it's pretty, if you're saying, wow, everything's a downer, I think if you're listening to the Downright Upright Show, you're going to find an hour program that is kind of the opposite of that because of your personality and the way you approach with a certain amount of optimism. That's what makes your show distinctive to me. Would you agree with that?
Well, that's very kind of you to say. Thank you. So yeah, I try to uplift. It's like you say all the time on the Gailey Show here, you and John, the whole mess, the fire hose of news that we're hearing, that's every day it's something other BS that you're hearing. Right. And so sometimes a little humor injected into the situation can change the whole perspective, Yeah. And also, I just wanted to say another thing. Next week, Monday and Tuesday, I'm subbing for Matt McNeil.
Wow.
So if you haven't had enough of me today, you can listen.
Come back for more.
Yes. You can come back Monday and Tuesday at 3 p.m. on AM 950 and CPT. I don't have the call letters in front of me. And BAM on Substack and Seattle and the whole nine. Yeah.
Well, that's the big platform. So now you're in front of everybody.
I know.
No privacy.
I have big shoes to fill.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. I don't envy you that. When I talked to Philip about coming on the show, he was saying an issue that was very important to him, and we're going to get into this now, and this might take our whole time together. I don't know, because it's such a big subject. But you had talked about the importance of the upcoming elections. And I want to be mindful that people talk about that a lot. I want to mention that there's primaries before there are elections. I know the Minnesota primary, I believe, is August 13th. So there's that before the elections, and every state's a little different. But you had sort of said that as a subject is something that you feel people need to hear about and need to hear the truth about. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Democracy is such an essential thing. I mean, the reason that we call ourselves Americans and that we're the, what Ronald Reagan said actually was the shining city on a hill. Yeah, thank you. I'm not good at quoting people, but yes. And so if we lose the democracy part of the equation, what's left, right? It's just such autocracy and, having a figurehead telling everybody what to do. You can't even, the FCC telling you what news you can, disseminate. It's just become scary. And everybody, I'm going to say this 100 times, please do not be intimidated by all this nonsense. Go out and vote. Even though you think maybe there's a possibility there'll be ICE there or whatever, you have to exercise your agency and go and vote, because that's what they want us to do, is to stay home, right, Jim?
Well, I think they want a lot of things, but that's certainly, they're doing everything they can to make it harder. And I think that's self-revealing, isn't it? If you're trying to make something hard to do, it's because they don't want you to do it. They don't want to know what you think. They want to do what they want to do.
That's Captain Obvious there. Yeah. So, but I think, again, go to your polls, vote, go door knock if you can. That's really another thing. We discussed this last year, the year before, when we were talking about the election. Yep. Going door knocking is amazing. You're helping your candidate win. Write letters, to your Congress people and your senators about things that are on your mind. What bothers you and what you want to see done, because they'll listen to you because you're a constituent, right? So there's so many things we can do.
You're bringing up a question for me that I didn't have written down, but I'm thinking of it now. I for a long time filled out surveys, which I've come to learn is just a way of getting your email. So there's not much actual practical value from that. Mm-hmm. And then I heard, talk to your Congress people, and I would leave messages, voicemails, because they say that voicemails have more impact than a letter. I don't know if that's true. I don't know how you know that or how somebody knows that.
Yeah, how to gauge that. Yeah.
I've also heard somebody said that if you go into an office, even with your letter, and say, I want this to get to the congressperson, I want this to get to the senator, that there's something about your physical presence that makes a difference to them. Do you believe contacting representatives, and I'm thinking of Republicans right now because I think they're the ones that need to be contacted, that need to hear, particularly from independents, mm-hmm. what they think of what's going on. Do you believe still that contacting them as an independent has an impact? Because I feel like some Republicans aren't listening to public opinion at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, from what I'm gauging from this whole thing, I see people in the street at No Kings, for example. The presence, the numbers are incredible. Do you notice each time they have a No Kings rally, the population of people goes up? There's more and more people attending those rallies, mm-hmm. and bigger stars are showing up. Like I remember, I couldn't believe I went to the one in the Capitol here in St. Paul recently, and Jane Fonda, Bruce Springsteen. I mean, incredible. Joan Baez. My goodness, for you older people, she was a very famous folk singer in the 60s and 70s. So yeah, presence sometimes. You're right, Jim. I mean, showing up is important. Yes.
I think it'd be very powerful for an independent who's feeling like, wow, I thought this Trump guy was going to do X or Y for me. Because in this world, about 29-30% of people are what I call good, 29 or 30% are bad, but it's 40% who are kind of indifferent. Either they don't vote or they call themselves independents, meaning they don't really pay that much attention to the issues. And I think those are the people who do vote, that are quote unquote independents, who decide elections. We don't. The right doesn't really. Neither one of us have enough people to determine an outcome, but it's the independents who back and forth or sway around or don't like the way somebody dresses or whatever the logic is that actually decide elections. So I feel like if you're an independent person and you're fed up with what's happening and you walk into your congressperson's office live and in person and say, this letter is for Congresswoman so-so, and this is what I think, and I'm fed up with whatever, and you walk out and back to your car, you'll have done something very powerful. And you tell them, and I'm an independent, I can vote for whoever I want to. And that's what they need to hear, because they need to start believing that they're in some danger, right? They have to believe they're in danger. And right now, in the echo chamber they're in, and afraid of Trump as they are, I don't think any of these people have really thought what would happen if the wheel comes off the wagon. Right?
Well, if it, I say this all the time on my show, if something affects you personally, gasoline prices, grocery prices, energy prices, your freedoms, down the line, that'll be a motivation for you to get your butt off the sofa and stop eating bonbons and go out and vote. I mean, that's
Did you see me this morning? I was eating.
No, you ate a pizza with me.
Oh, all right.
That was fun. No, but seriously, I mean, I think now because, he said, gasoline prices are going to be so low and we're going to be winning and no war, endless wars and, freedom and yada, yada, yada. And everything, the opposite is taking place. So I think people are starting to say, wait a minute, you didn't say that before,
Well, I'm surprised. I mean, if you're dealing with a congenital liar in any part of your life, right? If your pharmacist is a congenital liar, and they lie to you once or twice, wouldn't you say, I don't know if I trust this person.
It's like kind of a little kid. I always use this as another example. Little kid. There's a chocolate cake on the table, and there's a piece missing. And then, which of you ate the cake? And the kid with the chocolate around his mouth is, you ate it. I mean, if you're saying you didn't eat it and it's all around your mouth, and it's obvious that you are the reason. I mean, the gas prices aren't up for no reason. Come on, let's wake up, guys.
But our natural sense of distrust seems to be suspended for some people. And I'm asking independents, I'm not asking MAGA folks, but I'm asking independents to think for themselves.
After the break, we'll talk about independence.
Yeah,
I want to talk about
I'd like to do that. You're listening to The Gailey Show on AM 950. We'll be right back.
Have a fireplace that is not working for you? Traditional fireplaces lose heat and all too often have unsafe masonry cracks. At Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we have been updating existing fireplaces for over 45 years. We invite you to visit Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces. We display over 180 models and diverse styles. Or invite us to visit your home and give you a free estimate.
Some say there are only two seasons here, road construction and winter. I agree, but my two seasons are summer and fireplace season. In cold weather, we discover the warmth of a fire. Our dog Pumpkin remembers too. He stations himself right there while we stay toasty warm right by the fire.
Wood, gas, and electric fireplace inserts can turn unsafe and inefficient old fireplaces into the charming center of your room. Talk to us at the store or visit online. Share your photos and ideas. We will discuss your choices and answer your questions.
Discover your fireplace season. Visit Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces today. See the many choices located on the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis and online at woodlandstoves.com.
Hey, it's Patrick. It's May, and you may have fallen behind on your spring cleaning without even realizing it. But that's no problem because my cleaning heroes at Zero Res are here to help. Don't look now, but all those summertime activities are closing in fast. You might be having a graduation party at your house, or maybe a Memorial Day weekend barbecue, and you want your house to look top-notch for those friends and family coming to visit. Zero Res can take care of any surface in your home, from carpet, tile, rugs, upholstery, hardwood, grout, and more. So don't put off spring cleaning any longer, and don't miss this deal. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $139 plus a $599 whole system air duct cleaning. Call 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
Greg Bakken here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067, or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
Welcome back to the Gailey Show on WCPT in Chicago and KTNF in Minneapolis, St. Paul. This is your guest host today, Jim Pounds, talking to my guest, Philip Anthony from the Downright Upright Show. I want to ask Philip a question that I cannot come up with the answer to in my own mind, and that is, for the average American, not somebody that's obsessed with politics or strongly partisan one way or the other, for the average American, what do you think they think is going on right now?
Ooh, that's a heavy question.
No.
Well,
sorry.
It's anecdotal. I would think that some people would say we were hoodwinked, was when it comes to price, because people, the pocketbook issues are so important, right, Jim? People said I think 90% of people that voted for Trump thought it was because he was going to make the economy better, things would be cheaper, and I wanted to say, we were saying before the break about the independent voters. I couldn't believe this when and this is a fact, you can look it up online. Approval rating for Trump amongst independents fell as low as 26%, which means that 74% of the people in that group, in the independent voting category, will not vote for Trump or do not support Trump. Isn't that amazing?
It's a point of optimism because
Yes.
independents do decide elections as much as those of us in politics really want to think it's us. It's not.
Yes.
Turnout is important, but still,
Yes.
Independents really are the ones who sway things. And so to have that kind of number that I don't think is done going down is encouraging.
Yeah, and more and more and more, and this is a fact, more and more people in the United States are classifying themselves or identifying as independents.
Right. So then here's another big question. Do you think, by however you define this, do you think we, the United States, is at an historic moment, or are we it's just another day on the block? Just another sort of history goes on and life goes on and things go on, or is there something else, some crossroads we're at?
Well, another thing that I did, this is going to go with this question also, is we were talking about this on the break about Viktor Orban's election in Hungary. The fact that everybody thought, this is a despot, he's not leaving, yada, yada. He turned out to lose his election. So there's encouragement. I felt so encouraged by that. And people were singing in the streets, dancing. Did you see the videos all over? That's what's going to happen in America because people are done. Yeah. I really, put some butter on Donald Trump because he's toast. Really, I really think that this man is, there's no, he's got followers, they're in the cult and they're not leaving anytime soon. But reality will set into many people, especially in the independent community, when they vote, and they're going to go out and vote in mass against him. So,
yeah, I think there is a reckoning, and I know there's an expert that John and I both admire, Christopher Armitage, who believes there's one of the things that people are expecting or hoping for is that there'll be all this strum and drang, but ultimately we'll win in the fall and we'll get back to normal. But Christopher's opinion is that there's a 1 in 4 chance that that's going to happen. And I think that's what most people think is going to happen.
1 in 4 chance that they're not going
No,
to.
that it will work out to where we'll win the election and that everything will be fine.
That's
and
it? 1 in 4?
Yeah, so
That's what he said?
That's his sort of pessimism
Ay,
that,
Dios mío.
that there are 3 other possible avenues, which I'm not going to go into the details of those, but they're not as promising. They're not as easy. That's pretty easy if we all just get to go vote, have it work out, and go home and go, oh, phew, well, that's a relief. So what I'm trying to do is raise the alarm for people so that they think this is the election of all time.
You know why I think they're saying that though, Jim? I think because after this Supreme Court ruling about the referendums and, redistricting and all this stuff, we didn't win that battle.
Right.
The Supreme Court's not on our side.
No.
The fact that this man is now going to be able to, he's ordering pretty much all the governors in the red states to redistrict. There's some that already started voting right now, and they're stopping the voting, and they're going to redistrict and then reinstate the voting. I don't know how legal that is, but stay tuned, folks, because
that's why I suggest we're at an historic time, because I think we might be forced to do. I love Patty Vasquez did an article where she said we're going to have to get up off of our couches and at the very least protest, at the very least strike, at the very least something else, because there's so many of this, so much of Project 2025 has been thought out very carefully. They've done a brilliant job of how do you ruin the United States of America? How do you turn it into a totalitarian dictatorship? And that's the path they're following. And so we're going to have to do more than raise our hands and say, hey, can you stop that, please? I think more is going to be required of all of us than that. And I think of my father who fought in World War II and so many who felt like, wow, this is a moment where I'm being called to something. And I hope that doesn't happen. I'm not suggesting it has to happen, but I'm saying we might all have to think, we might have to go beyond what we can currently imagine into something else to save this country, because I do think the country's in grave risk, and that we get distracted by Iran and we get distracted by mail-in voting. We get distracted by
that's important though. I mean, the mail-in voting, because
but I think his whole philosophy is throw more stuff into the fan, and the more stuff flying around, the media, what's left of it, follows all those little shards. Oh, the president said he's got white socks on today, and they elevate everything he says rather than saying, what's the end game? What is the end game? What are they ultimately trying to get to happen? And saying what we think to be the truth out loud. That's what I'm trying to do. And yes, I am trying to raise people's alarm level because I think it's going to be called for. But I don't really know what people are thinking. Maybe they're thinking the same thing I am, and they're ready to do whatever they're called on to do, to ensure that their kids have a future or that the country has a future. I hope so anyway. That's my prayer. I really appreciate you being on the show today. I love this. I hope people will check out Downright Upright Show. It is a different hour of radio. If you ever feel depressed, just turn it on. You can even go to sleep to it, because it will put you in a better mood while you're sleeping. You know what I mean? And
I have the same thing to say about your show. It's incredible, and and thank you for propping up the LGBTQ plus community, because I do that on my show as well. So. Thanks.
Well, I appreciate that. We're trying to do the same good work, and not to say anything about LGBT specifically, a lot of these issues reach well beyond that. And I think what I keep trying to say to people is, if you're an other, if you're not a white, straight, rich male Christian, which 97% of us are not, then you're one of us, as far as I'm concerned. And those 3% are trying to rewrite the rules. So keep your eyes open. Yeah. Thanks, Philip.
Thanks, Jim. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
We'll be right back.
Mornings can be tough, unless, of course, you're listening to the Stephanie Miller Show every weekday morning from 8 to 11 on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
At Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we believe that a working fire can bring comfort, warmth, and security to your life. At Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we have the know-how to make this work for you. Talk to us at the store or visit online. Share your photos and ideas. Discuss the choices, ask questions, and get an estimate. We also do free visits to your home. We gather all the details to ensure a smooth and safe installation.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces installed our wood stove years ago, and we still love it. Watching the fire, feeling the heat, it's a joy we experience every day. And knowing we have a reliable heat source makes us feel extra snug and safe.
At Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we display over 180 models in diverse styles, with over 35 of these burning so you can experience the glow and warmth of a live fire.
Whether wood, gas, or electric, find a fire that warms your heart, a fire that adds comfort and security to your life. Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces at the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis, and online at woodlandstoves.com.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services since 1977.
Theater Pro Rata presents the landmark play Fefu and Her Friends by Maria Irene Fernez in the Cyril Mansion overlooking Lake of the Isles from May 11th to the 28th. This is an utterly unique theatrical experience where the audience and the actors share the same space. It is considered a masterpiece of feminist theater in the masterful hands of director Karen Bradley Weatherin. Do not wait to get your tickets at theaterprorata.org. That's theater spelled R-E.
Hey, it's Patrick. It's May, and you may have fallen behind on your spring cleaning without even realizing it. But that's no problem because my cleaning heroes at Zero Res are here to help. Don't look now, but all those summertime activities are closing in fast. You might be having a graduation party at your house, or maybe a Memorial Day weekend barbecue, and you want your house to look top-notch for those friends and family coming to visit. Zero Res can take care of any service in your home, from carpet, tile, rugs, upholstery, hardwood, grout, and more. So don't put off spring cleaning any longer, and don't miss this deal. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $139 plus a $599 whole system air duct cleaning. Call 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
With your AM 950 weather, this is Adam. 62 and cloudy today. Tonight, 36 and cloudy. And tomorrow, 49 under clouds. Great Wall Restaurant, specializing in Szechuan and Peking Mandarin cuisine, has menu favorites like hot and sour soup, pan-fried dumplings, sesame chicken, beef and broccoli, and so much more. Conveniently located at 4515 France Avenue South. For takeout, call 952-927-4439.
AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Welcome back to the Gailey Show, broadcasting on AM 950 KTNF in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and also airing on WCPT 820 AM in Chicago. I am the guest host, co-host of the Gailey Show, Jim Pounds, and for this next half hour, we're going to have a guest that I'm really excited to talk to. This is someone that I know from another part of my life, but he's associated with something that's very exciting. So I want to bring into the conversation James Grace, who, in full disclosure, we were in a production of La Cage aux Folles together. I don't know when that was, many moons ago. James, welcome to the Gailey Show.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me, Jim. I'm very excited to get to talk to you again.
It's very exciting because we had a lot of fun on that show, and sometimes I can say the beautiful James Grace because I've seen him look beautiful as one of the Cagelles in La Cage aux Folles, which was a great experience, by the way. So we have this acting experience background. So James is an actor, yes, and he's a dancer, yes, and he's a choreographer, yes, and he's an intimacy coach, which we'll talk about. But he's in a production, get this, of a chorus line, for crying out loud, a chorus line at Park Square, which is this the beginning of their 50th season? Am I right about that? That's what's in my head.
This is the end of their 50th season. Closing out their 50th season. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I mean, that's kind of astonishing. Just thinking.
Yes, I know. They have a theater company running for 50 years. And what's great about it is I don't know how much you know about the history of A Chorus Line, but A Chorus Line premiered on Broadway in 1975, so it just had its 50th anniversary. So Stephen DeMena, the artistic director of Park Square Theater, thought this was a nice convergence of 50 years of A Chorus Line, 50 years of Park Square. Let's celebrate with a big, grand show.
I mean, you just can't get much more show busy than A Chorus Line. But I wonder now. Well, let me ask you first what role you put. Tell the 16-year-olds in the audience that don't know what A Chorus Line is, what it is, and then tell us who you play.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in short, A Chorus Line is a Broadway musical about dancers auditioning for a Broadway musical.
Talk about a show within a show.
Exactly. It tells the stories of these dancers and really gives a look for the audience to what it's like to go through the process of auditioning and all of the feelings of hope and hard work and the hurt when you don't get in the show, and how do you continue moving forward and how do you move on. And it's told through the perspectives of primarily there's 17 principal dancers. I know it's a beast of a show. So you have 17 principal dancers who represent all of these different personalities and different walks of life and different backgrounds. And you hear their stories and what brings them to dance, what brings them to theater, and all of that. I play the character Gregory Gardner, who is the oldest dancer on the line, and he's not shy about it. He's also one of the two openly gay characters in the show, and he's a bit of an old queen, but he can dance circles around these kids, you know.
He's been around that block a few times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, old and wise.
But the point is, you're still on the line. I mean,
I am still on the line. Absolutely.
Speaking as someone that's not on the line anymore, I'm impressed. Be impressed by that. It's such an iconic show for those that know it, and it's, at least in my mind, been dissected, and it's been around a long time. People have presumably seen it a few times. What do you think is a surprise or a layer that you folks have uncovered that might be unexpected? Is there something, or is it just lovely to sit back and enjoy it again?
What I think is the most exciting thing in this production, for myself and others who are in the production, but I think for audiences as well, is it is the original 1975 choreography.
Wow.
It is all of the original Broadway choreography. We Park Square brought in Eddie Gutierrez, who's our associate director and choreographer. Eddie is from the Michael Bennett estate. So Michael Bennett was the original director and choreographer of the show, the iconic choreography you think of all of this.
Yep.
So as part of the 50th anniversary revival for A Chorus Line, they brought together folks to recodify what the original choreography was.
Wow.
Because what had sort of happened was original cast members of the 1975 production went off to go set the show all over the world.
Right.
And what ended up happening is sort of this game of telephone where choreography got a little bit tweaked one way because that's how Christie taught it, and Bjork taught it this way, and Mitzi taught it this way, and whatnot. Wow. And so for the 50th anniversary, they came back and said, let's reset what the original is going to be. So Eddie, our associate director, choreographer, is a representative of the Michael Bennett estate, setting that original 1975 choreography.
Wow.
And let me tell you, it is a beast.
That's what I was afraid of. I was going to ask. That sounds great, unless you have to do it.
Yeah, it is so specific. It is so Michael Bennett's style, and within that specificity, I think you find, as an audience member, seeing all of that done to such a superb level. And Eddie has held the bar so high for all of us, and we're so grateful that he has done that.
Yeah.
as grateful as we are tired of, doing all of the work.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, we're all so excited to share this because you will get to see the version of this that is as if you were sitting in that seat in the Schubert Theater in 1975 on Broadway.
Wow. And it's in a house that probably seats, 300? I mean, it's an intimate house compared to a Broadway house.
Yeah.
So
and I love this theater. There is not a bad seat in this theater.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I did 6 shows there, and it is one of the best houses in town for any play, but particularly for this one because a lot of these are individual stories, like you say, and it juxtaposes between very personal, almost like a close-up, to the full stage and full production. It goes back and forth. It's just brilliant as a concept. So for a gay person, like, for example, what advice would you, it seems so obvious. Well, of course, gay people are going to come see this because it's a chorus line. So beyond that obvious invitation, what else do you think people might be interested to see or hear about the show?
Yeah, I think what's lovely about having such a diversity of personalities and characters on the stage is you absolutely have to connect to at least one of them in their personal stories and what they're telling in their background. And one of the loveliest parts of the show is the character Paul. He has this long monologue about his background growing up gay and Latino and figuring that out and hiding it from his parents and then having a reckoning, running into his parents when he's dressed up in drag and having to confront that and having to go through what that worry and that heartache and that hope feels like. And it is one of the most gorgeous parts of the show. And I have to give a shout out to that actor, Stephen Rada. He's played this character 8 times before. And so when I tell you he nails that character and that monologue and knows so deeply and intimately the ins and outs of what that is, I think I've heard so many stories. I talked to gay men who tell me one of their first theater shows when they were 17, they saw a chorus line, and it is the first time they saw a gay character being supported and celebrated on stage. I mean, you think back 1975, before the AIDS epidemic and the whole, we could talk about theater history and the whole slew of, American theater that came out of that.
Right.
This is before all of that. Right. And to have a sentimental and supported and hopeful gay character on stage was unheard of in 1975. And Chorus Line does it very well.
It was exhilarating. I know. I think I probably saw it in the late 70s, I think at the Pantages in Los Angeles. So let me ask, in terms of the esprit de corps of dancers, I'm not a dancer, as we know from La Cage aux Folles, but there is a feeling whenever you see dancers together that they all speak the same language, they all know each other, they share a language, they're kind of cliquish. I don't mean that in a negative way, but they're kind of interconnected or something. And I don't remember how this is portrayed in A Chorus Line, except I think they're pretty competitive because this is life and death, or being able to pay your
it's in an audition. I mean, that's what you walk into is we're in the audition room. And so it is that back and forth of, I want to stand out. I want to make a good impression to the director.
Right.
And I want to outshine the others on the stage. But there's, again, a lovely, and I think this is what a lot of folks connect with toward the second half of the show. One of the characters gets injured, I won't spoil who, and has to get carried off stage. And the ensuing scene is prompted by the director, who says, "What would you do if you can't dance anymore?" Mm-hmm. And we hear the perspective of all of these dancers who this is their entire life, have to muse on, what would I do if I couldn't do the thing that I love to my core? And how do I reckon with that? And we get to see these varieties of characters who have all of these ideas and thoughts, and some of it is scared, and some of it is hopeful, and some of it is pretty dry. And you know what? This is what it is, and this is what I need to move on. And I think that's a scene where you see a bit of the camaraderie of dancers, as you say, the esprit de corps, of look, we're all doing this to, even though we're vying for a few parts, and some of us are going to get it and some of us won't. This is our shared experience.
Yeah.
And that's lovely.
Well, and I remember there's some emphasis also, which of course is obvious when you think about it, the issue that a dancer's life is shorter. You know, a dancer doesn't have a 50-year career or something like that. So there's this precious time, this precious number of years when you can even do it.
Yeah. I was joking earlier that my character, Gregory Gartner, is the oldest person on the line. He's 32. I mean,
grandpa,
you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, there's that scene I was just speaking about leads into the song many people will know because it became sort of a pop song, Oliver, What I Did for Love.
Right.
And one of the lyrics in that song is, the gift was ours to borrow. And that always hits me so hard on stage every time, because it's exactly what you're speaking to. We as dancers know our bodies won't last forever. And so we borrow this gift for the time that we can have it, and then we have to pass it on to the next person.
Right.
And yeah, it hits me every single time we hear that.
Well, there's something about 50th anniversary, a show like this with the heritage that it has, sort of celebrating theater at a time when theater, you know, is struggling to get its feet underneath it, in some cases, struggling against people not coming out as often. This is a show you need to come out and see. I think it should reinstate your love for the theater if you had that, and maybe you've lost it, and you just want to luxuriate in all of this talent. When do you see 17 magnificent dancers on a stage? Not very often, and have them be in the front rather than in the back. So I can think of 100 reasons to go. And can you think of one more reason, James, or have I given?
I will add on to that. We also have a 12-piece orchestra.
Wow.
Which is the largest orchestra that is playing in the metro area right now. Oftentimes lots of pit orchestras end up kind of paring down to 5 or 6 or 7 or so. And so speaking of luxuriating in it, we just had our Sitzprobe where we hear the full orchestra, we sing through the full show with the full orchestra for the first time. And oh my God, when I tell you, it was so wonderful.
We'll leave that thought for you to think about while we go to a break, and we'll come back with James Grace after these words. Stay with us on The Gailey Show. Birthdays are milestones. Birthdays can also be really complicated. The funny and poignant Broadway hit Birthday Candles by Noah Hadel is receiving its area premiere at Sidekick Theater from April 15th through May 17th. Every year, Ernestine bakes a cake and celebrates with her family on her birthday, a delicious ritual that unfolds on stage across 90 years of birthdays as she grows from 17 to 107 years old. Through glimpses of her life as the years go by, Birthday Candles tenderly explores motherhood, family, love, loss, and finding your place in the universe. If you've never been, Sidekick Theater performs at the Minnesota Masonic Heritage Center in Bloomington. There are 3 matinees and 1 evening performance per week. Beautiful theater, free parking, professional actors, and a guaranteed good time. Get tickets by going to sidekicktheater.com, spelled R-E, sidekicktheater.com.
This Mother's Day, wow your mom with the Mother's Day Brunch Buffet at the Park Tavern. On May 10th from 10 until 2 p.m., treat mom to a fantastic meal with the Park Tavern Buffet featuring favorites everyone will love. $29.95 for adults, seniors, and kids are $19.95, and kids 5 and under are free. And mom and the kids will cherish the hour of free bowling with every reservation. It will become your family's Mother's Day tradition. You need reservations, so call 952-929-6810. on May 10th. Wow your mom with the Mother's Day Brunch Buffet at the Park Tavern.
At Schroman Law, we provide more than just legal documents. We walk alongside our clients to ensure their wishes and legacies are being honored with every choice. And we do this while recognizing that this process can be emotional and weighty. Our team includes attorneys, as well as a grief coach and a published writer ready to assist with legacy letters and extra wishes to go alongside your healthcare directive. Contact us today to learn more at schromanlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
There's no place like home, and no show like The Wizard of Oz live on stage. Children's Theater Company brings the iconic original to life April 21st through June 14th. Follow the Yellow Brick Road with Dorothy, Scarecrow, Tin Man, and Lion in a dazzling new production filled with the classic songs you love, spectacular theatrical magic, and a real Toto. Whether you grew up with the film or discovered Oz through Wicked, see where the magic began and fall in love all over again. Get your tickets at childrenstheater.org.
Doherty Family College at the University of St. Thomas offers an affordable 2-year associate degree with a seamless path to a bachelor's. Located in downtown Minneapolis, students receive free textbooks, a laptop, meals, career coaching, tutoring, a Metro Transit pass, mentorship, and paid internships, all at Minnesota's largest private college. Ready to turn dreams into reality? Apply now at dfc.stthomas.edu. Doherty Family College. Your journey to success starts here.
You're listening to The Gailey Show on WCPT AM in Chicago and KTNF in Minneapolis, St. Paul. My name's Jim Pounds. I'm the guest host today and the co-host usually. I'm joined by my guest, James Grace, who's affiliated with the production of A Chorus Line at the Park Square Theater that nobody had better miss. And I want to spend the last few minutes that we have talking about your work as an intimacy. Do we say coach or director? What's the right term?
Sure. Typically intimacy director for theater. Yes.
For theater. Yes. Because this is something that I know is not new now, but it's newish. And can you tell us how you work with actors, obviously, but I'm also interested in how you work with everybody else. In other words, do they just put you in a room with actors and say, you guys work it out and we'll come back when you're done?
Yeah.
Or how does that go?
Absolutely. So, theatrical intimacy director. I mean, born a bit out of the Me Too movement, back in 2015, 2016, et cetera. But really, if you think about it as a corollary to fight directors for theater. So anytime there is a stage fight, there's a slap, there's a punch, et cetera, you don't want to actually slap or punch people or not do so in a harmful way, right? So we bring in a fight director who choreographs those moments of physical altercation. So an intimacy director does a similar thing whenever there is, you think of there is a kiss, there's any sort of sexual physical touch, any simulated sex on stage, et cetera. An intimacy director will come in and choreograph those moments. Because historically, there's been a lot of, in theater and film, we get to those moments and I've heard so many stories of people who say, you two actors, go figure it out. Go out in the hallway and figure it out and then come back and do it. And there's been no protocols or safety or discussion around informed consent and boundaries and all that sort of stuff.
I'll give you my one experience in this regard. When I was considerably younger, I was told, well, both of you get on your knees. Jim, you take your shirt off and then you just make out.
Mm-hmm.
Those were our
the
choreography.
Exactly. And there's so many stories out there, similarly. And so I come into the room and my North Star is always informed consent. I want to make sure that we know what we're doing. We know what is being asked of the actors. We know where everybody is putting their hands, where everybody is putting their mouths, where all of this is happening. And if we're doing any sort of simulated activity, I'm there to help choreograph. Okay, here's where you're putting your hands so that we mask that this is happening to the audience. The audience may believe it's real, but
Right.
we know on stage we're keeping each other safe. And
Do you find that actors, and I'm sure it varies with all the variations there are, but do a lot of people have certain limitations? Well, I'd rather this not happen, or I'd rather we not go there, or can you generalize that way, or you really can't? Every person.
I encourage all actors, to have boundaries.
Yeah.
And a lot of folks will come in and say, and we often use like a stoplight system to say, this is a green zone, go for it. This is red, never touch this, or this is yellow, let's discuss before we get it, right? And I do have actors who say, yeah, everything's green.
Yeah.
And I will encourage them to think about that a little bit more critically.
Yes.
And because we have the freedom to explore this and figure it out. And in particular, what are the areas that you really relish in? I love when people play with my hair. I love that. Awesome. Let's lean into that rather than trying to stay away from the red zones. Like, how can we move toward the green zones and make that really exciting to play with?
Yeah, because part of this is to make it sensual or love, whatever it is the scene's trying to evoke. You are trying to get a reaction or a response in the audience to believe it or be moved by it or whatever the situation is. So I can see where that choreography might enhance some of that rather than fumbling around for 2 minutes and saying, well, that's the best we could do.
Yeah. Well, and I also don't want the actors, to think of if all they have in their head is all of the places I can't touch the other person, you're in there and you're like, wait, no, I can't put my hand. Oh, no, not there either. Okay, I have to, and it's like, it just takes you out of the scene. And we want, exactly as you're saying, we want the audience to live in it with us.
Yeah. Well, it's a really interesting, what is something that, I don't want to make you tell something that's inappropriate, but what's something that maybe surprised you about doing this, where you're like, oh, I've never heard that before. I've never encountered that, or something that was unusual in some way. Can you, or a director asking, I don't know. Is there anything that you can say on FCC controlled radio?
I think that it's, what I often get brought in for is there's a stage kiss. I have gotten brought in on some shows where there is some amount of simulated sex on stage that we are setting. And most often, honestly, the whole room has been in support of what we're doing. I've only run into a couple of situations where I've had any adversity at all. Typically, you asked the question as well about how do I work not just in choreographing this, but work with the other people in the room.
Right.
And I'm often collaborating with the director, and I'll set something and work with them and say, hey, is this telling the story you want it to tell?
Right.
Because I'm here to advocate for the actors and their boundaries, but it also needs to tell the story. So I honestly have run into support. The thing that I think is most luscious that I like to get into is the very subtle things we don't often think about that, to me, make a big difference. Breath, eye contact, tension leading into a moment is often more luscious than the moment itself. What is it to all the tension that builds up to a kiss, not just the kiss itself?
Well, there you go, folks. There's the best thing you'll hear this afternoon. So I want to thank my guest, James Grace, for being here today. You're listening to The Gailey Show. We appreciate your support by going to our YouTube channel and subscribing. And as we always say at the end of the show, James, keep it queer.
Queer.
Greg Bakken here. If you love great food as much as I do, eat local Minnesota.